But if in Queens the Republicans hope to do better among Latinos, they're not going to run television ads with people crawling over fences or standing in daily hire lots, cast from some casting call to look Mexican, to be shot in some commercial. They're not going to succeed, as Republicans have done in other parts of the country, by working against having voting materials in Spanish. I assume, and I know these people, that they're going to make a Republican pitch, but one that is comfortable to their listener. How come we saw those ads in this last cycle? How come we saw in some parts of the country, even where there are very few Latinos, really pretty ugly advertising about the threat of immigrants to your job and that kind of stuff? Is that going to work as Republicans try to broaden the base?
Well, as I said before, we don't need to change the substance of our politics, the Republicans, but we need to change the tone. That is important, and I think you're right on that. And I wanted to make a small comment because it also refers to what Professor de la Garza said. He said, non-Hispanics are voting for Hispanics, the ones that want to sit this time. And my question is, what's wrong with that? Because when you come to this country, whether you're Hispanic or not, you assimilate to this country if you want to succeed. You don't expect the entire country to assimilate to you. You assimilate to this country. So if other non-Hispanics are voting for me, that will only prove me that I'm doing a good job in serving this country. It's not only asking, now that I arrived to the United States, what are you going to do for me? It's what can I do to make this country even a better country than it already is. It's believing that this country is exceptional and believing that you risk everything to come here. And you gather, especially the young Republicans, you gather together, but you talk about common issues, Hispanic and non-Hispanic issues. I'm a true believer that if we improve the economy and economic growth, for example, it's going to benefit everybody, Hispanics and non-Hispanics. I think it's important to keep our identity, but I think it's even more important to feel American. We are in the United States of America. We are American Hispanics, but we are American first once we are here and we are committed to be here. So you want to keep your language, I think that's great. I think it's better if your children are bilingual. It's a benefit, it's more educated. You have more chances, more opportunities, but that doesn't mean you're not going to assimilate. And that's what I said, I think we are going to keep the substance, but change the tone and let them see the benefits that they will have, but coming to not only to us, but assimilating to this great culture and to this great democracy.
You're absolutely right. You could vote for whoever you want, and there's no requirement that you vote for somebody like you when you head into the booth. But as Republicans look over the country and try to figure out how they can do better with an important constituency group, one of the answers traditionally in politics has been, well, bring them in and put them in positions of leadership. Cultivate, promote, move forward with a diverse team. And in the case of some of the nominees that Professor de la Garza was talking about, they won their jobs, as Henry Bonilla before them did from Texas, without attracting the Latino vote. So they won their office, which is great, but they didn't do it in a way that benefits the party over the long haul. Go ahead.
Let me say something in regard to that. This is something with Professor de la Garza, who says that the Tea Party is extremist. So how extremist those people were with white people who elected a Latino? So they're not extremists. They're not racist. If they were racist and they were extremists, they will not vote for the Latino guy. They would vote for the white guy. So now we have a demographic of white people voting for a Latino, and still people says that these are extremist people. I think that kind of is that's what I was talking before about name calling and trying to change the tone, always criticizing Republicans and conservatives. Marco Rubio won Florida with 51% of the Latino vote. There's nothing wrong with that. And if he would have won with 60% of the white vote, there's nothing wrong with that. He had a message, he had a good message, and the message was able to convey in that part of Florida. I have friends in various places. Our organization is working in different states, and we have organizations in Florida, Texas, and the people in Texas are working and doing a grassroots effort, explaining our beliefs and our principles. And every state is going to be different and difficult. But I believe that the way that they portray us, and they're saying that we are extremists, and then we see the 60% of the white people voting for a Latino guy. I mean, I don't understand that. I don't think that's good in a conversation. I think it's a mistake from the professors to say that kind of stuff, because I found that disrespectful. That okay, it's okay for a white guy to vote for a white guy. Or now that the white guys vote for a Latino, then it's wrong. I mean, it doesn't. I don't understand it.
It is, Tito and Maricruz had mentioned, we don't move away from the substance, but we do need to look at our messaging a little better. We've learned that divisiveness, wedge issues have a diminishing return. We found this with gay voters in earlier election cycles. This is a lesson learned by the Republican Party. Looking back after 04, 06, and 08 cycles, we thought, oh, gee, we just lost a number of voters. Well, you know what? This last cycle in 2010, the self-identified gay voters went from 18% in 2008 voting Republican to 31% voting Republican in 2010. You know why? Because the party went back to focusing on the issues, on the priorities, focusing on the economy, focusing on jobs. But
well, during a time of economic distress,
right,
those cultural and wedge issues are less evident in our politics.
Right. But going back to the images you were talking about, that's an example of unnecessary targeting. It's inappropriate. It shouldn't be done. And so the dialogue should be about immigration reform, because having a pathway to citizenship and securing the borders are not mutually exclusive. But it doesn't need to be done in a divisive way. And this is something that we're working on in internal reconciliation in our party. But yeah, divisive messaging has a diminishing return. It might help immediate, but it's not a good thing. And I think we all are in concurrence that focusing on the priorities will get us to additional victories, and actually probably will get us to secure the White House.